Hey everyone, welcome back to Echo Your English. I'm so glad you're here today. In this video, we're going to do something a little different. Instead of just giving you a conversation to listen to, Emily and Ryan are going to talk about how they've helped their friends improve their speaking skills. You'll hear natural advice, real experiences, and practical tips, all in the calm, relaxed way we always do here. This is going to be a natural English listening practice. So get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea, and just let the language wash over you. No stress, no tests, just natural conversations. If you're new here, welcome. We believe in learning English the natural way, by listening, absorbing, and echoing what you hear. No complicated grammar rules, no pressure, just calm, realistic conversations that help you improve naturally. If you enjoy this kind of content, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep creating these videos for you every week. All right, let's jump into the conversation. Emily and Ryan are meeting for coffee, and Emily's been helping her cousin improve her speaking skills. Let's listen in.
Hey, sorry I'm a little late. The line at the bakery was crazy.
No worries, I just got here myself. I grabbed us a table by the window.
Perfect. Oh, before I forget, I wanted to talk to you about something. Remember my cousin Maria I mentioned?
The one who moved here from Brazil last year?
Exactly. So she's been asking me for help with her English, specifically her speaking. And honestly, it got me thinking about how we actually help people improve their speaking skills.
That's interesting timing. My coworker just asked me the same thing yesterday. He understands everything we say in meetings, but he freezes up when it's his turn to talk.
Yes, that's exactly what Maria's dealing with. She can read English fine, she watches shows, she understands conversations, but when she needs to speak, especially at work, she just gets stuck.
I think that's pretty common, actually. Speaking is different from the other skills because you have to produce the language in real time. There's pressure.
Right, and I've been trying to figure out the best way to help her. Like, where do you even start?
Well, what have you tried so far?
Honestly, at first I didn't know what to do. I suggested she practice grammar exercises, but that didn't really help her speaking. She'd do the exercises perfectly, but then in conversation, nothing changed.
Yeah, grammar exercises are useful for understanding structure, but they don't really train your mouth to produce language quickly.
Exactly what I realized. So then I thought maybe she just needs to speak more. But when I suggested she find a conversation partner, she got nervous.
That makes sense. If you're not confident, jumping straight into conversation with a stranger can feel overwhelming.
That's what she said. She told me she's afraid of making mistakes, afraid people won't understand her, afraid of those awkward silences when she can't find the word she needs.
Those are all valid fears. I think most learners feel that way at some point.
So I started thinking about it differently. Instead of pushing her into conversations right away, maybe there's a middle step, something between studying and actual conversation.
That's a good call, like building up confidence gradually.
Right, and that's when I remembered how I learned Spanish. I didn't jump into speaking right away either.
How did you start?
I spent a lot of time just listening and repeating. Like, I'd watch Spanish shows and pause after someone said something, then try to say it the same way they did.
Oh, like shadowing.
Is that what it's called? I didn't know it had a name. I just thought of it as echoing.
Yeah, shadowing is a real technique. You listen to native speakers and try to match their rhythm, intonation, everything. It's supposed to be really effective.
Well, it worked for me. Even though I was just sitting alone in my room, I felt like I was practicing speaking. My mouth was getting used to making the sounds.
And you weren't worried about making mistakes because no one was listening.
Exactly, that's the beauty of it. No pressure. So, did you suggest that to Maria?
I did, and she loved the idea. She's been doing it for 2 weeks now, and she says she already feels more comfortable.
That's great. What does she practice with?
She started with videos like ours, actually. Calm, clear conversations at a moderate pace. Then she listens to a sentence, pauses, and repeats it.
Does she record herself?
She started doing that this week. At first, she was embarrassed to hear her own voice, but I told her it's the best way to notice what needs improvement.
Absolutely. When you record yourself, you can hear things you don't notice while you're speaking, like pronunciation issues or places where you hesitate.
Yeah, she noticed she was adding extra syllables to some words, like saying interesting with 5 syllables instead of 3.
That's a common thing for Portuguese speakers, I think. The rhythm is different.
Right. So now she's being more mindful of it. She listens to how native speakers compress those sounds, then tries to match it.
You know what I've noticed? A lot of people think they need perfect grammar before they start speaking.
Oh, tell me about it. Maria kept saying, but I don't know all the tenses yet. And I'm like, native speakers make grammar mistakes all of the time.
Exactly. Communication is the goal, not perfection. If people understand you, you're doing great.
I had to remind her of that constantly. She'd get so frustrated with herself over tiny mistakes.
It's hard though, right? When you're learning a language, every mistake feels huge.
True. I remember learning Spanish and feeling mortified when I mixed up embarazada and avergonzada. I told someone I was pregnant instead of embarrassed.
Oh no, what happened?
Everyone laughed, including me eventually. And you know what? I never made that mistake again. Sometimes mistakes are the best teachers.
That's a good point. Making mistakes in a safe environment helps you learn faster.
So I've been trying to create that safe environment for Maria. I told her we'd have practice conversations where she can make all the mistakes she wants.
How's that going?
Really well, actually. At first, she was apologizing for every tiny error, but now she just keeps talking. She's getting more fluent.
That's the key, isn't it? Fluency first, accuracy later.
I think so. I mean, obviously, you want to be accurate eventually, but if you're stopping every 3 words to worry about grammar, you'll never build momentum.
Right. It's like learning to ride a bike. You have to get moving first, even if you wobble. You can work on technique once you're comfortable balancing.
Great analogy. I'm going to tell her that.
So, what kinds of things do you talk about in these practice conversations?
We started really simple. I'd ask her about her day, and she'd tell me. Then we moved on to things like describing her apartment, talking about her favorite foods, explaining her job.
Everyday topics.
Yeah, because those are the conversations she actually needs to have in real life. What's the point of practicing complicated debates about philosophy if she can't tell her coworker what she did over the weekend?
Good call. Practical beats theoretical every time.
And here's something interesting I noticed. When she talks about familiar topics, things she actually cares about, she speaks much better.
That makes sense. You're not searching for words as much because you already know what you want to say.
Exactly. So now I ask her about things she's passionate about. She loves cooking, so we talk about recipes. She's really into Brazilian music, so we discuss that.
And her vocabulary in those areas is probably getting really strong.
It is. She was telling me about this dish she made, and she knew all these specific cooking verbs: saute, simmer, caramelize. I was impressed.
See, that's the natural way to build vocabulary. Not memorizing lists, but using words in context, talking about things that matter to you.
Right. Although I do think vocabulary practice is important too.
Oh, definitely, but the way you practice matters.
So, how do you think people should practice vocabulary if they want to improve their speaking?
Well, what doesn't work is just reading word lists and trying to memorize definitions.
Yeah, I tried that when I was learning Spanish. I'd memorize 20 words, feel great about it, then couldn't use a single one in conversation.
Because your brain hasn't connected those words to actual usage. They're just isolated pieces of information.
So, what works better?
Learning phrases instead of individual words. Like, instead of memorizing exhausted, learn I'm absolutely exhausted or that was exhausting.
Oh, I like that. You're learning the word plus how to actually use it.
Exactly. And it helps with something called chunks of language.
Chunks?
Yeah, native speakers don't really construct sentences word by word. We use these pre-made chunks that we've heard a million times, like I'm down for that, or just out of curiosity, or to be honest.
Oh, wow, I never thought about it, but you're right. Those phrases just come out automatically.
Because you've heard them and used them so many times, they become one unit in your brain. You don't have to think about the grammar, you just say the whole thing.
So learners should focus on collecting these chunks.
I think so. It makes speaking much faster and more natural.
How do you collect them, though?
Same way we're doing right now, actually. You listen to natural conversations, notice the phrases people use, and practice saying them yourself.
Maria's been doing that with the videos. She has a notebook where she writes down useful phrases.
Does she practice them?
She does. She doesn't just write them down. She makes her own example sentences and says them out loud.
Perfect. That's creating her own context.
And sometimes I'll give her a situation like, you need to reschedule a meeting, and she has to use one of her phrases.
That's brilliant. It's like a mini role play.
Yeah, and it's low pressure because it's just the two of us, but it prepares her for real situations.
You're basically giving her a safe space to fail.
Fail successfully, I like to say.
Ha, I like that. Mind if I steal it?
Go ahead. So what else helps with speaking? I feel like we've covered shadowing, practice conversations, and learning chunks.
Oh, thinking in English. That's a big one.
How do you teach someone to think in English?
It's gradual. You start small, like narrating simple actions in your head.
What do you mean?
Like right now, I could be thinking, I'm drinking my coffee. Emily is looking at her phone. A woman just walked in. Just describing what's happening around you.
Oh, that's clever. You're practicing forming sentences without the pressure of actually speaking.
Right, and you can do it anywhere. Walking down the street, sitting on the bus, making dinner.
I actually did this with Spanish. I'd be cooking and think, okay, now I'm chopping the onions, the oil is getting hot, I need to add the garlic soon.
See, and over time it becomes automatic. You stop translating from your native language.
That's such an important point. Translation is slow.
It is, and when you're having a conversation, you don't have time to translate. You need to think directly in English.
How long does that take, do you think?
It depends on how much you practice, but even beginners can start doing it with simple thoughts. You don't have to think in complex sentences right away.
True. Even just thinking I'm hungry or it's cold today is a start.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
Can I ask you something? How important is pronunciation?
That's a big question. Important for what purpose?
I mean, Maria worries a lot about her accent. She thinks people won't take her seriously if she doesn't sound native.
That's a common worry, but honestly, I don't think it's necessary to sound exactly like a native speaker.
No?
No, I mean, clarity is important. People should be able to understand you, but having an accent, that's completely fine. Most English speakers around the world have accents.
That's what I told her. I said, your accent is part of who you are. As long as people understand you, it's not a problem.
Exactly. And honestly, trying to eliminate your accent completely is exhausting and often unnecessary.
Although there are some pronunciation things that really do affect understanding.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if you're consistently mispronouncing certain sounds, that can cause confusion.
What are the common ones?
For a lot of learners, the th sounds are tricky, like the difference between think and sink.
Or three and tree.
Right, and vowel sounds can be tough, like the difference between ship and sheep.
Oh, that's an important one.
Yeah, context usually makes it clear, but it's worth practicing.
How do you practice specific sounds?
Minimal pairs are helpful. You practice two words that are almost identical except for one sound.
Like bit and beat?
Exactly. You say them back to back until you can hear and feel the difference.
Maria's been doing that. She struggles with V and B sounds.
That's common for Spanish and Portuguese speakers. In those languages, the sounds are often similar.
Yeah, so she'll practice berry and very, boat and vote.
Is it helping?
Slowly, yeah, she records herself and compares it to native speakers.
That's the way to do it. You need that feedback loop.
Although sometimes I think she focuses too much on perfection.
In what way?
She'll practice the same word 20 times trying to get it exactly right. And I'm like, Maria, people will understand you either way.
Yeah, there's a balance. You want to be clear, but you also don't want to obsess over every tiny detail.
Right. Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And honestly, some pronunciation things just take time. Your mouth muscles need to get used to new positions.
That's true. It's physical, not just mental.
Right, like learning an instrument. You can understand the theory, but your fingers need practice.
Or like an accent in acting. Even if you know how something should sound, you need repetition to make it automatic.
Good comparison. Speaking of which, do you think watching movies and shows helps with pronunciation?
I think it helps with hearing the sounds for sure, and with intonation patterns.
Intonation is huge. That's something textbooks don't really teach.
What do you mean?
Like the melody of English, how your voice goes up at the end of questions, how emphasis changes meaning.
Oh, like the difference between I didn't say she stole the money with emphasis on different words?
Perfect example. The meaning changes completely depending on which word you stress.
That's so important for learners to understand.
And you can only really learn it by listening to native speakers and imitating them.
Which brings us back to shadowing.
Everything comes back to shadowing, apparently.
It really does seem like one of the most effective techniques.
You know what I think is the biggest barrier to speaking improvement?
What?
Anxiety, fear of making mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of not being understood.
Oh, absolutely. Maria's biggest problem isn't ability, it's confidence.
Right, and that's harder to fix than grammar or vocabulary.
So, how do you build confidence?
Small wins. You start with situations where the stakes are low, and you gradually work up.
Like what?
Like maybe you start by ordering coffee. That's a simple transaction. There's a script. And if you mess up, it doesn't really matter.
Then maybe asking for directions?
Yeah, or making small talk with a cashier. Little interactions that don't feel overwhelming.
I like that approach. It's exposure therapy, basically.
In a way, yeah, you're proving to yourself that you can communicate, that people will understand you, that mistakes aren't the end of the world.
And each success builds confidence for the next interaction.
Exactly. Maria's doing that?
She's trying. She set a goal to speak English at least once a day outside of work.
That's great. What does she do?
Sometimes it's just commenting on the weather with a neighbor or asking a question at the grocery store.
Perfect. Those low-pressure situations are ideal.
And she said the more she does it, the less scary it feels.
That makes sense. You're retraining your brain to see English conversation as normal, not threatening.
Although she still gets nervous before meetings at work.
Work is higher stakes. There's more pressure to sound professional.
Yeah, and she's worried about being judged by her colleagues.
Does she prepare what she's going to say beforehand?
She does now. I suggested she write down key points and practice saying them out loud before the meeting.
That's smart. It's like having a safety net.
Right. She's not reading a script, but she's organized her thoughts in English ahead of time.
And that probably reduces the cognitive load during the actual meeting.
Exactly. She can focus on listening and responding naturally instead of scrambling to translate her thoughts.
You know what else helps? Remembering that most people are focused on the content, not your accent or grammar.
That's true. If you're contributing good ideas, people don't really care if you make small mistakes.
And most native speakers are impressed when someone's speaking a second language, not judgmental.
I hope Maria realizes that eventually. She's doing so much better than she thinks she is.
She probably is. We're always our own harshest critics.
So true. I still cringe when I think about some of my Spanish mistakes.
But you kept going, and now you're fluent, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm not perfect, but I can have any conversation I need to have.
And that's the goal. Functional fluency.
I like that term. Not perfect fluency, but functional fluency.
It's more realistic and less intimidating.
So we've talked about techniques and mindset. What about opportunities? Where should people practice speaking?
That's a good question. Not everyone has access to native speakers or conversation partners.
Right. Maria's lucky because she lives here and works in an English-speaking environment. But what about people who don't?
Well, there are online options. Language exchange ops, conversation classes, even just voice messaging with friends.
Do those actually work?
I think so, yeah. The key is consistency. Even 15 minutes a day adds up.
What about talking to yourself? Is that weird?
Not at all. It's actually a great way to practice when you don't have a partner.
Really?
Yeah, you can have imaginary conversations, practice telling stories, explain concepts out loud. Your mouth is still getting practice forming English sentences.
I've done that before and felt ridiculous.
But did it help?
Actually, yeah. It helped me organize my thoughts in Spanish.
See, it's a legitimate practice method.
What about joining clubs or groups?
That's excellent if it's available. Book clubs, hiking groups, volunteer organizations, anything where you'll naturally have conversations.
And it's less intense than one-on-one conversation practice.
Right, the pressure is distributed among multiple people. You can observe and participate at your own pace.
Marita joined a cooking class. She said it's perfect because she can talk about something she loves.
That's brilliant. She's combining her interest with English practice.
And the environment is casual. People are focused on cooking, not on analyzing her English.
Perfect. That's the kind of natural practice that really helps.
You know what I realized? The best speaking practice happens when you forget you're practicing.
What do you mean?
Like when you're so engaged in the conversation or activity that you stop worrying about your English. You're just communicating.
That's flow state. That's when real learning happens.
Exactly. So the goal should be to find those situations where you're genuinely interested and involved.
Not just doing exercises for the sake of exercises.
Right. Make it meaningful, make it fun, make it relevant to your life. Wow, we've been talking for a while. This turned into a whole masterclass on speaking skills.
We should probably summarize. What would you say are the most important points?
Okay, let me think. First, speaking is different from other skills because it requires real-time production, so it needs specific practice.
Right, and shadowing, or echoing native speakers, is one of the most effective ways to practice without pressure.
Second, fluency before accuracy. Don't let perfectionism stop you from speaking.
And make mistakes in safe environments so you can learn from them.
Third, learn language in chunks, not individual words. That's how native speakers actually use language.
And practice vocabulary in context, especially topics you care about.
Fourth, thinking in English. Start simple and build up.
That reduces translation time and makes you faster.
Fifth, pronunciation matters for clarity, but accent doesn't need to be perfect.
Focus on sounds that affect understanding, not on sounding exactly like a native speaker.
Sixth, confidence is built through small wins and consistent practice.
Low-pressure situations first, then gradually increase difficulty.
And finally, find natural opportunities to speak. Join groups, take classes, talk about things you love.
The best practice doesn't feel like practice.
Exactly. Oh, and record yourself sometimes. It's uncomfortable but useful.
Very true. Anything else?
Just that progress takes time. Be patient with yourself.
And celebrate small improvements. Every conversation is practice.
I should tell Maria all this, although we've basically been doing it already.
Sounds like you're a pretty good teacher.
Thanks. I'm just remembering what worked for me and hoping it helps her.
That's the best kind of teaching, honestly. Sharing real experience.
Well, thanks for brainstorming with me. This conversation actually helps me organize my thoughts.
Anytime. And hey, tell Maria I said she's doing great.
I will. She'll appreciate that.
So, there you have it, a natural conversation about how to improve your English speaking skills. Emily and Ryan covered a lot of ground, from shadowing techniques to building confidence to creating opportunities for practice. The most important thing to remember is that speaking improvement is a journey, not a destination. Every conversation, every practice session, every mistake is part of the process. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and keep practicing. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Echo Your English. We create content like this every week, calm, natural conversations that help you learn English the way it's really spoken. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Until next time, keep echoing, keep practicing, and remember, you're doing better than you think you are. See you in the next video.